Assalamualaikum and welcome back everyone. You are now tuning into IIUM your campus radio. So I'm DJ Nurin and you are now listening to Screen and Soul.
Yes.
So maybe some of you are still new with this program. You are not really familiar. So I will briefly introduce it to you. So Screen and Soul is a student-led radio program that explores entertainment, digital broadcasting media, particularly in the influencer culture, social media content creation, from shooting video to editing and many more. So the program highlights how media shapes identities, values and responsibility among youth in today's digital world. And we are here on Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. only on IIMFM. So for today's episode, we will be discussing a very relevant and provoking topic. Okay, so content banning on social media, is it shaping awareness or limiting the freedom? So in today's digital age, social media has become one of the main sources of information for students. So however, there are growing concerns about content restrictions, especially it could be on the political issues, on the propagandas, or on the global conflicts right now we are having between the Iran and America, or between the Palestine issue, or any sensitive topics. So these raise an important question. Are these restrictions protecting the users or limiting what we are allowed to see and know? Yes, so to explore this issue further, we are joined by our special guest today. Okay, let me introduce and let me welcome Brother Izlan.
Yes.
Okay, he is a third year integrated
Media.
A third year communication student specialized or majoring in integrated media journalism.
Yes.
I would say he is an active student,
Yes.
and he is also a president of Good Society.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
Assalamualaikum and welcome to Screen and Soul. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, DJ Nurin,
Yes.
for welcoming me. I think it's quite short notice. I woke up in the morning and suddenly, Assalamualaikum, brother. Can I invite you? So it's in the media world especially, I think I need to get used to this,
Yeah.
especially if someone wanted me as a speaker. And yeah, Alhamdulillah, I am fine. Thank you for asking. How are you, DJ Nurin?
Alhamdulillah, even though I'm having quite flu
flu
having
today.
a flu, but
Looking like it.
okay, but I'm trying my best to do well today.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so
Congrats.
we will just proceed with our
Yeah,
first
sure.
session because we will have a really long discussion.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so just let us begin with the first questions.
Yeah.
So to begin with, how would you define content restriction or banning on social media in today's digital landscape?
I think, okay, so Bismillah, Assalamualaikum to all who are listening to IMFM, your campus radio. So it's been a while since I'm back to IMFM as a guest. For the last time, I was the guest for GFF 3.0, but today I am back to talk about social media banning.
Yeah.
So it's really
Interesting.
out of your mind kind of topic, but it is something that I think is very crucial for us to talk about, especially when we are, as the president of the Good Society, we are the club that advocates. We try to advocate. We try to do our activism by promoting our ideas in social media. So yeah, if you want to talk about shadow banning, I would like to go in depth about shadow banning, which is when you promote contents that are particularly neutral, you would say quote unquote neutral or quote unquote just for entertainment purposes, it will get a lot of views, it will get a lot of engagement, a lot of likes, a lot of shares, a lot of comments. But suddenly when you try to promote and advocate things that are maybe a bit controversial and maybe a bit could you say kacau some certain people interest, it would get suddenly low engagement. Then you will try to think about, where did I do wrong? Is it my hook of the video? Is it the content, the body of the video? Is it the call to action of the video? You start to figure out, is it the format which is wrong? But actually, it was never the format. It's about the content itself. If you're promoting about something that are disturbing someone's interest, or what could continuously happen in Malaysia is when you talk about politics. When you try to insert something that is contradictory towards the owner or the shareholder of the company, of the platform that you are surfing, it could shadow ban you. and it will limit your engagement towards your content. So, for example, as you mentioned earlier about the US and Iran conflict, it would say that if you supporting the Palestine, our brothers and sisters in Palestine, our contents would get shadow banned or even be request to be taken down. So if you haven't experienced this, you try to continuously post about Palestine, and then one day you will see that your post will be taken down, and they will give you a notification for that. And then the reason is quite bamboozling, because it's like, for promoting harm, for promoting violence. While this, for me, is basic activism for us to keep reminding people that our brothers and sisters, they are dying.
Yeah.
They are dying. It's not a trend. So we need to keep reminding our brothers and sisters here in Malaysia to keep praying for them, to keep aware that they are still in oppression. So yeah, I think that is how I would define banning, quote unquote, in social media.
Okay, that's really interesting, and I think maybe some of us are really are new to hear the term of shadow banning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting for us to know. So we will proceed with the second question for the first sessions. So why do you think certain types of content, such as political or conflict-related content, are more likely to be restricted?
So I think, as I mentioned earlier, one of the factors is because it is contradictory with the interests of the people who owns the platform. So if you are an MJ student, especially in your third year and second semester, you would be probably taking this one subject called contemporary media industries. So contemporary media industries tells you how to be a great media analyzer, which is you start to analyze media not based on the contents, but you start to analyze media based on who owns the platform. So if you want to analyze a TikTok video, start to analyze who owns TikTok. If you want to analyze Instagram video, who owns Instagram? So who owns Instagram? Meta. Meta owns by who? This one kind of organization. Who owns TikTok? This one kind of organization. So what does this organization have to do with other people's interests? What kind of this organization have to do with political interests? So all of this would resolve around one entity, and if that entity's interest got disturbed or got contradictory, then they will shadow ban us. That's it.
It's up to them, of course.
It's up to them.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day,
They hold the power.
they hold the power. Yeah. We have the power of freedom to create, but they have the power of freedom to limit and to restrict. So yeah, it's about interest. At the beginning and maybe at the end, it's all about interest.
Yeah. So, like as we know, we do have the power of posting.
Yes.
We do have power to speak. You know,
Yes.
especially us in
Yes.
Malaysia, we are a democratic country.
Correct.
We can say whatever we want, but it of course is up to the platform, lah kan?
Yes.
Okay, so that was very insightful explanations to help us understand the issue more deeply, more
Yeah.
clearly and deeply, I would say. So my friends, okay, the one that are listening right now, stay with
Hi,
us.
DJ Nurin friends. Oh, I forgot to say hi to them. Okay.
So because after this short break, we will continue our discussion and explore deeper into how content banning is connected to power and control in media.
Okay.
Okay, so stay tuned to RIUM FM,
Your campus radio.
So welcome back everyone. You are still tuning into Screen and Soul with me, Dizzy Nurin, here on RIUM FM. So we are continuing our discussion with our guest on the topic of content banning on social media. So I want all of you to take a deep breath because we're gonna go deeper in these discussions. So in these sessions, we want to explore how power and control influence what we see online. Okay, so here we go with the first question for these sessions. Go. Okay, are you ready, brother?
Yes, of course. I need to be ready.
Okay, you are ready, I will say. Okay, so the first question would be, when certain content, especially about political movement or global issue or any sensitive issues, is removed or limited on social media, do you think students are missing important perspective? If you think so, why?
So, I think, regarding this question is quite complex, yet it is quite important for us to know. Either the platform is limiting us into another perspective, another way to think actually. So for me, as my sixth semester experiencing how anything would work, anything come to academic, come to your social life, come to your relationship life, everything has been always a new perspective. There will always be a new perspective. So basically, if people restricted you from accessing into some kind of media, then people are restricting you from another kind of perspective. Because you would never know what other people accept for you or your circle or your bubble in the IIUM community, what outside of IIUM is thinking. So if you are limited towards things that only in people in IIUM that thinks, people that in the communication department that thinks, people in IIUM FM that thinks, you will not engage yourself into another perspective that could you overlook about it. So sometimes when you overlook about this, you will be culture shock when you move out from IIUM. Because for me, I have experience in my internship. I did my 2 months internship with Architect of Diversity. For the viewers who doesn't know, Architect of Diversity is a social cohesion NGOs. They are advocating about harmony relationship between races and religions. So basically, when I did my internship at AOD, I heard a lot of things from people that are outside of IIM community, of course. At that point, I regret all my decisions to stay in my bubbles for too long until I don't realize that, okay, these people also exist. So this kind of culture shock would could lead to many kind of actions. Benda baik, benda buruk. But in the end, if you are unable to decide which kind of actions you want to take, it could be lead to benda buruk lah. So yes, I think for all students that are listening to this session right now, I think it's very important for you to open your perspective, go outside from your bubble, go outside from your comfort zone, so that you can, not because you can get more experience, not because, no, it's about getting to know these people and their experiences is much more will benefit you later when you go into your working world, when you go to the industry. Because in the end, the industry does not only revolves around only IIUM community, only an Islamic community, only on a Malay-based community. It goes beyond that. So yeah, I think that's one of my comment lah regarding restrictions and new perspective.
Yeah. So, so do you think all these restrictions, all these decisions are always made fairly, or they can be influenced by the corporate interests?
Yes,
maybe?
Exactly. If when it comes to media, like I mentioned from the previous part of the interview, it is always about the one who control the platform. So this is why I want to emphasize the importance of maybe content creators to create quote unquote safe content, so that the content can flow to people's algorithm freely without being shadow banned. So that this good kind of content that encourage students to go outside their comfort zone, to go outside their bubble, to experience new things with new people, it could be happening. Meaning that they will not face any kind of restriction because the content that are created for them are safe, are quote unquote safe. But you need to masking about this lah, because of course certain people in power, they don't like you to have new perspective. But if the content creator that from this good kind of organization that want for social cohesion and all, they create this kind of safe content so that it could reach those people that in need to get outside from their comfort zone and go mix with new people. So yes, I would answer yes, but it should not be a barrier for us to reach more people, to contribute more good to the community. Pernah aku seaktivis macam ni.
Okay.
Jangan macam-macam.
So,
Yeah.
lastly, or if I just want your opinion. So,
Okay.
how does content restriction shape what audiences are allowed to see or understand about the global issue?
But the global issue,
Yeah.
sorry, can you repeat the question again? I
How
got double barreled for a second.
it's okay. You have a long day, so I
Okay.
understand. How does content restriction
Mhm.
shape what audiences are allowed to see and understand about the global issue?
So of course, in the previous media, before I think we could say October 2024, before that, maybe the Western media are able to somehow, some way block the rest of the world from not seeing what is happening in Palestine, for not seeing what happened in Iraq, for not seeing what happened in Iran. So all of this, for some reason, they still have the status quo to control it. But after October 2024, somehow and some way also, the media got exposed to a lot of contents related to Palestine and related to Iraq and Iran. So why does this happen? We always try to question why media outbreak happen. Why certain content that before this restricted, but suddenly it got blew up. Boom.
For quite
So,
time.
so this kind of questions is something for us to think about. I also don't have the concrete answer towards this, but to answer your question, all of this restriction, for me, it is happening, but it will not kept forever. Just like the example I gave you earlier. So yes, you can restrict us from receiving this kind of information, but trust me, in today's kind of technology, plus AI, plus people are interested in the world again for some reason, trust me, you kept it secret, it will not last forever. That's it.
Because media, it's unpredictable. I would say, even though
Okay.
there's, for my opinion, there's people that are controlling, they are managing, but maybe what audiences want, they can't fully
Yes. Yes.
keep it.
Yes.
Because
They cannot keep it a secret.
yeah,
Yes.
because that's what we want.
Yes.
Because somehow without the audiences, they wouldn't go growth. Like
Yeah.
big.
In some sense, you are
Yeah.
correct. In some sense, you are correct. In a way where there's always needed supply and demand. So when we want something that they cannot give, they will suffer a loss.
Yeah, of
So at the end, I think that's another perspective for us to look into.
Yeah, because even in social media, if we are talking about the audiences instead of banning, because back then Instagram was a hit. Everyone was using Instagram. All the content Instagram. But now we are more focusing on the TikTok.
Yeah, video content lah, I would say.
Video content, threads,
Mm.
instead of just focusing on the
Mhm.
Instagram. Even though Instagram and threads are
Still relevant, yeah.
are quite connected or whatsoever, but we are changing. Okay, so I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Take your time.
Okay, so those are very important points, I would say, especially when we think about how information is controlled in today's media environment. And we are about to reach our short break again.
Okay.
So, but our discussion is getting even more
Hotter,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's take a short break before we move on to how this issue impacts society as a whole. So stay tuned only on AIM FM,
Your campus radio.
Assalamualaikum brother and sister. Welcome back to Screen and Soul, and you are still with me DJ Nurin and our guest brother Izlan here on
Yay.
RIMFM. So, we are still discussing the impact of content banning on social media.
Yep.
But in this session, we want to focus on how this restriction affect society and public understanding. Okay, so let's go with the first questions.
Yes.
So do you think banning certain content helps protect society, or does it limit public awareness and discussion?
I think it depends on what type of information it is and what type of stand that we are holding in.
Yeah.
Because we could determine one type of content is protecting. When we are limiting that content to reach the public, we call that protecting. But some people would call it the same content, but we limit it, and then they will call it that we are limiting their access to knowledge.
Yeah.
So basically, it always turns out on who is talking. Who is talking fallacy kan? Who is talking is about a way of thinking where you decide good or bad based on who are you. So for me, if you decide contents like maybe matured contents, things like communism, this philosophical content, this ideological content, communism, anarchism, anti-monarchism. So all of this kind of content, for me, as a person, I would say it is okay to reach the public audience. It is for increase the knowledge regarding ideologies and stuff. But certain people or certain group of organisation would not like for this kind of information to reach the people of Malaysia. For example, these recent cases, there's a banning of a book called I forgot what's the name, but it was about communism by Mao Zedong, the ayahanda himself, we call that for the CCP people, Chinese Communist Party. So this kind of book was restricted by the government and was not allowed to be published in Malaysia. But another book profiling another type of ideology, which is Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler, was allowed to be published in Malaysia. How about that?
Is the view.
So is the who is who is talking about what is good and what is bad for the citizen of Malaysia. So again, yeah.
So, so does it actually limit the public awareness? Of course it is.
It
right?
is, of course it is. But in the same time, it could also be safe for them for some reason. So it depends lah basically jawapan dia.
Jawapan tak. It depends lah. Jawapan depends. Okay, so let's move on with the second question for these sessions. So in cases involving political movement or conflict-related content, how might restrictions affect the public perception?
On what content?
Involving the conflict-related content, on the propagandas, I would say.
So for conflict and propaganda contents, I think in a perspective of which sides are you on? So which side are you on? So for example, if we are involved, it's kind of hard to talk about this topic, but let's just say about racist issues.
Okay.
So basically, you are a Malay, and then you suddenly see a conflict of a Malay and Indian. So whose side on you on? Of course the Malay,
It's
because
Malay,
of course we sided with your race. So how it would build the public perception is based on what the conflict sides is the most closest to you. For like example I mentioned earlier, if the conflict is related to race, then what kind of race that is most closest to you? A Malay. So you would beat your perception saying that, if you see Malay conflict with an Indian, you will say that, Indian people trying to oppress Malay people. But if you are an Indian person, you would say, Malay people try to oppress Indian people in Malaysia, for example. So aside from race, it could come from ages also. You know the conflict at the thread where people complain, oh Gen Z is Gen Strawberry, Gen Z is Gen Lemah. Oh Allah bersama Gen Z, Allah tak bersama Gen lain. That kind of talk also is kind of conflict, and kind of conflict that would build public perception where, okay, if the conflict more sided on Gen Z kan, it would say that, oh, these all Gen dinosaurs are boomers. They are bad people. They don't appreciate our works. They don't appreciate our efforts. But then if the conflict arises sided with the boomers gens, it would, saying that Gen Z is too soft. They are soft. They are not like worthless, but in a sense they are trying to claim that, oh, my generation go to the school by boat. Go to the school if at the Sarawak, or people go to school with alligator. So yeah, I think is related to what kind of identity you are more closer to would shape public perception on a conflict. Yeah.
Okay. If we would like to go globally.
Oh, globally, okay.
Let's we try to move lah. What about the, maybe on the Palestine issue?
Okay.
Because when we post something, like you said, when you keep posting about Palestine, somehow you will get banned or
shadow ban,
restriction because as violence or whatsoever. Do you think it will affect the youngsters? Because when they keep banning, of course the Palestine issue will just
disappear, shut down.
So what do you think about the youngsters? What do you think about their perception toward like this kind of issue? Will it be affected or not?
Wow, that's a very, very great thing to think about. But I think that's what make our roles more important, which is to keep that continuous effort where when they keep banning us, we keep posting. When they keep restricting us, we keep creating. So stuff like this will, I would say, being passed from one generation towards another. You cannot keep banning us forever. Again, I would say you cannot keep an information as a secret or as a what you call a storage that later lah you can know this kind of information. No, you cannot keep it forever. You at one point of time, there's always times where that kind of information will go out to the public, and then if it doesn't, then the people who have access towards that kind of information and they think that the people need to know, they will post it. They will advocate for it. So in the end, for youngsters, this continuous effort by us will be needed to pass from one generation into another. So to make sure this is it, we need to be istiqomah. One of the way we need to be istiqomah lah. We need to be istiqomah, and we need to have this kind sense of responsibility until Palestine will be free. So
we need to keep
the effort.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, that's a really nice answer, I would say. Yeah. So let's proceed with the...
I am proud of myself.
We'll proceed with the last question for this session.
Alright.
Okay, so could content banning lead to misinformation instead of reducing harm? If you think so, why?
If what again?
If could content banning lead to misinformation instead of reducing harm?
I would say both of it, yes. Both of it, yes. Because in media, there would be no solid yes or no questions, I believe. There would be no this is right or this is wrong. I think in media, there's always one grey, vague, really, really thin line that you need to maneuver into. Sometimes kalau tak boleh ambil semua, ambil separuh, ataupun ambil sikit, ataupun ambil separuh, ambil suku. So when you talk about misunderstand, of course, if you don't have sufficient information regarding something, you wouldn't make the right decisions. So it would cause a misunderstanding, and that misunderstanding could lead into a worse misunderstanding. So it will be keep continuing on. So I would say yes, it will increase the harm, but in the other side of the coin, we can see that it reduce harm based on that insufficient information as well. So if you don't have certain knowledge about something, you wouldn't want it to commit to actions. So if you don't have knowledge, you wouldn't do the actions and greater harm would not be done. So again, the insufficient information would play a great role shaping what kind of person you are, shaping what kind of action you're going to take. So yeah, for me, I would say in the Malaysian context, in nowadays 2026, the greater you know, the I would say, like, you know, Thanos quote, no, you are not the only one who got cursed with knowledge. So to Thanos, knowledge is a curse. Why? So I have a lot of years to think about this, and I finally figured it out, where sometimes when you know something and in a situation you should play ignorant of it, you should, sepatutnya kau tak tahu pun benda ni, but you know, and then based on that situation, how are you going to handle it? Are you going to spill the beans? Are you going to, like, macam, you know, being nervous about the information that you carry? So especially if it's on interpersonal level, especially in a relationship level, where, oh, I know your secret, but you don't know that I know your secret. So then what happen if you know that I know your secret? So that's that kind of thing that I would say in a situation where limiting some kind of information could reduce harm that could happen into people in interpersonal level. But on a bigger scale, if you want to go global, yes, get to know as much as you can. And yeah, just do it.
Yeah. You know, as you grow older, you need to gain much more knowledge.
Of course.
Okay, so that was really a great thought, I would say. Great opinion. Okay, a piece of information for us to gain.
Yeah.
Okay, so it shows that the content banning is not a simple issue.
Yes.
Of course.
It's
There's no correct or right or wrong. Okay, but something that affects how society understand the reality. So let's take one last short break before we move to the final part of today's discussion. Stay tuned to IIUM
Your campus radio.
Okay, welcome back everyone. You are still tuning into Screen and Soul with PD Nurin and our Brother Izlan in RIMFM. So we are now reaching the final part of today's discussions
Yep.
where we will reflect on this
Mhm.
issue more critically.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question for this session would be, where should we draw the line between protecting users and controlling information?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Saying about controlling, I have the longest thought on this question when I saw the question list in the beginning of the interview. I think it is not anybody's job to control what kind of information that people will receive. I don't think it is quite what you call regressive, because in a positive progressive mindset you would always think that the more you know the better. But in a case of like I mentioned, in a bigger scale, you should gain a lot of more knowledge, and you should not let anyone take control of what you have the possibility to know. So don't let yourself, my father is preventing me to get this kind of information, so I should not get it for some reason. But it is not about what you will get after. It was about what you will do after. So for me, I think in my most optimistic mindset, when people get information about something that is important, they must wanted to do actions about it. So for example, you get to know about the reason that corruption happened in your country, then you would definitely would want to take action about it. So how are you going to take action about it? That's another case. But the fact that you are blocking me from getting that information just because you are assuming that I'm going to do bad things about it is mindset that we need to get rid of, I believe. So please don't limit yourself. Please gain more knowledge. If you don't like to read like me, I'm a person who don't like to read except for one topic, which is I like to read about bribery and corruption.
Bribery.
So the only book that I finished, educational book, is Sociology Raswa, or we call it Bribery Sociology, written by Hussein Alatas, the brother of Nakib Alatas, our founder of IUM. And not founder, what you call founder, like kind of founder. Yeah, and the things that he highlighted in the book really opened another view of my mind regarding corruption and bribery, where it is very unique type way of thinking. When we see this case, I would not be able to receive this kind of information if people are limiting me. So that's why it's very important for parents, especially, to encourage your children to go grab a book and try to read at least one or two books that would cater to your interest. So yeah, for me, I don't believe in people controlling what you get information, but to talk about protecting, is always those kind of people who have their savior mindset. Savior complex. We say savior complex, that I want to save you from this, so I did this, Itu macam cliche drama lah. It's so 1990s kind of mindset. So get rid of it. You don't need to protect anybody from any kind of information. Just guide. I think the parents' task here, and maybe teachers, lecturers, if your students have this kind of opinion, don't don't ban them. Don't stop them from talking in class. Let them speak their ideas. Let them have their opinions. And if you think that, especially in IIUM, we are driven by Islamic principles. So especially if it against the Sharia law, don't compromise. I mean, every kind of action, there are the pros and cons, and there are ways for us to maneuver in our religion. We always, but once Allah said it wrong lah. It is wrong lah. So that is the line where you want to, what you call, deal breaker. Deal breaker, where if this thing that I'm going to do is against the Sharia law, then I won't do it.
Yeah. You always have to go back to the Quran and Sunnah, of course.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, somehow what you say is correct. I would agree because when you are protecting too much also, you are getting boleh lead to toxic juga
Oh, yes.
somehow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-uh.
You are creating a prison for someone.
yeah.
So, what do you
Bagi dorang-
expect?
bagi dorang a piece of paper and we guide them.
Huh. Nice analogy. Congrats, Nurin. You are one intellectual person. Okay.
Okay, so we will move on to our last questions.
Okay.
Okay, so in your view,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what would be a more balanced approach than simply banning content on social media?
I think if you want to talk about authority, instead of banning, there could be guidance or policy that explains the detailed kind of things that we could share or what we could not share. So I think this is the responsibility of MCMC lah. How they want to do it is not my problem. But if they still have the concern of what kind of information that the citizen of Malaysia will get, then they need to work hard enough to figure out the methods. What is the better approach in making sure the best type of information reach Malaysian citizen? So in the end of the day, I believe sometimes in today's technology, you cannot receive information you got banned by MCMC. You use VPN. Doesn't matter. You have VPN, you can reach other countries' IPs, and you can get those kind of information that you want. So it doesn't matter. You have VPN, you have technology. All of this, the more prison you create for people, the more ways for them to escape. And you're not going to like them.
Yeah.
So stop creating prisons. Start create pen and papers for them to write, express their opinion. And yeah, I think that's how I would say a better approach rather than banning and restricting.
Prisoning,
And prisoning people. Don't in a sense prisoning about knowledge lah, bukannya literally. Itu masalah kau lah kalau tak ni pun lah. Yeah.
Okay, that's a really interesting jugalah.
Mm.
Okay, because you keep emphasizing on stop prisoning, stop limiting, restricting, which is true because some of us might thinking that what we call not stopping, some have a limitation macam helpful, but actually somehow it, it could bring to bad effect also lah. Okay, so that's all for our discussions today. So thank you so much, Radhi Izlan, for sharing your insights, your perspective with us today. I'm sure our fans have gained a deeper understanding
I hope so.
content banning can influence awareness, freedom and access to informations. And to all our friends, thank you for tuning in and staying with us throughout today's episode for about an hour. So we will be back inshallah next week with another meaningful discussions on Screen and Soul. So until then, keep thinking critically, stay informed, and use the media responsibly. So this is DJ Nurin and
Brother Izlan.
okay, thank you and Assalamualaikum. See you again next time.
Tata.
Bye.